A grim warning echoed from Budapest as Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán cautioned that the coming months could mark the most dangerous phase yet in the ongoing Ukraine conflict. Orbán convened his Defense Council following Ukraine's deployment of Western-provided long-range missiles against Russian targets and Moscow's unveiling of an updated nuclear doctrine. The Hungarian leader framed these developments as critical junctures requiring careful navigation to protect Hungary's neutrality. In a video message shared on social media, Orbán underscored the heightened risk of escalation. The danger of the war spreading has never been greater, he said, pointing to recent missile strikes by Ukraine on Russian territory and Russia's subsequent nuclear policy changes. The Hungarian leader stressed the need for all our knowledge, resources, and diplomatic experience to keep Hungary from being drawn into the conflict.
With the victory of President Trump in the U.S. presidential election, e-date, peace, or at least a ceasefire, has become noticeably closer, but the U.S. has a pro-war government in power for 2 more months. In practice, this means that yesterday the Ukrainians launched long-range missiles at Russian territory, and the Russians responded by adopting a stricter nuclear doctrine. I listened to the report of the Defense Council. The danger of escalation and spread of war has never been greater.
Orbán's remarks came amid shifting global dynamics. He tied the hope for peace to Donald Trump's recent victory in the U.S. presidential election, claiming it could bring a ceasefire closer. However, Orbán warned that the Biden administration, which he labeled as pro-war, still holds office for 2 more months. Hungary's Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó echoed these concerns, criticizing the Biden administration's decision to allow Ukraine to deploy long-range missiles. Szijjártó described the move as dangerous, suggesting it brings the specter of global war alarmingly close. This dangerous decision contradicts the will of voters who elected Trump, he added, also targeting European leaders who continue to back Kyiv.
The pro-war mainstream still doesn't want to see that the end has come. The European pro-war mainstream does not want to see that the people have made a decision. They do not want war, and they do not want to see the extremely dangerous decisions that constantly involve the danger of war escalating. And unfortunately, the European political leaders in Brussels don't want to acknowledge the new reality either. The situation is getting worse from the point of view of Europe, and the situation is getting worse from the point of view of Ukraine. Each day in this war brings new suffering, new casualties, and another threat to the escalation of the war. However, the victory of President Donald Trump could also be interpreted as a very serious opportunity for Europe.
Orbán, a consistent critic of Kyiv's EU and NATO aspirations, has often worked to undermine EU support for Ukraine. His government has repeatedly delayed or obstructed measures to send military aid and impose sanctions on Moscow. At summits, he has urged other leaders to reconsider their commitments to the war-torn nation. Kremlin's spokesperson Dmitry Peskov joined the criticism, accusing Washington of pouring fuel on the fire and escalating international tensions with its recent actions. As Europe faces growing uncertainty, Hungary's nationalist government is walking a fine line. Orbán's latest remarks highlight the high stakes of the conflict and the potential for it to spiral into a broader catastrophe.